Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for being here and for watching my videos, and thank you for subscribing if you have subscribed. You may have heard that once I get to 100 subscribers, I can name this channel, and that would be really great because I've come up with a name and it would just make life a lot easier. It would be easier to share it and tell people about it. So if you like this, if you like what I'm up to here, please do subscribe and share it and spread the word, and let's get to 100 and then I'll leave you alone. Just kidding, I won't leave you alone. I'm going to keep posting videos every day about how to be happier and how to feel sane and how to stay sober if that's your jam. But even if you're not in recovery from drugs and alcohol, like I am, you can still get something from this because we all got to live our lives. We all have to interact with people, and I have learned a lot of ways to do that better. Not better than anyone else, but just in a way that makes me feel less insane and less miserable. So I'm experiencing much more joy and having a lot more fun in the world even when shit gets hard. And let me tell you, shit still gets hard. So hey, how many of you get your feelings hurt? I just got my feelings hurt recently. And what I actually am here to share today is that nobody hurt my feelings. Actually, I hurt my own feelings. And it's the same for you too. It's how it works. We might think that someone out there is being a big jerk, and if they would be nicer, then we would be happier, and that's just not true. Although we have been conditioned to feel like that's true, and it feels true, it seems logical. Like, that guy was being a jerk, and if that guy was nicer, I would feel happier, right? Like, it seems to make sense. We feel like there's this correlation, like when people are nice to me, I'm happy, and when they're mean to me, I'm not. It's because of that person. We want to put the blame out there. And I'm just here to talk about how that ain't the case, and even for myself with 5 years plus of studying and practicing how stuff really works, like with our minds and our feelings and our thoughts and emotions, I tell you, I still fall for it sometimes. And so I just wanted to share how it happened to me yesterday, how I got out of it, and why it's worth practicing this stuff. Because before, this could have been something that really wrecked my day or my week. You know, it could have started a fight, it could have had me not going around that place anymore, and instead I was able to shake it off pretty quickly. So that's good news, and if you would like to be able to do that, then that's what I'm going to talk about today. So I made some notes, sorry, and they're not very clear, but so the thing about it is, so how come it doesn't work the way that it seems to logically work, where I use the example of like he was a jerk and it hurt my feelings? What do I mean when I say I hurt my own feelings? So there's a couple ways, there's a couple reasons. One of the things is that it's the way our thoughts work, and just because we maybe aren't aware of it or can name it or like have this time and the space to piece together like here's something that happened and here's my thinking about it and now I'm feeling this way, I can assure you that the thought always comes before the feeling. And so that's why like a mindfulness practice or a meditation practice or just some kind of folk practice where you're learning to become aware of your thinking, if you practice this, you will start to see what's going on in your mind. When we first start this kind of work, it just feels like it's an instantaneous thing. Like, that guy was a jerk, now I'm mad or hurt or whatever. But there's always a thought. There's always some thinking that's going on. And sometimes it's subconscious and it just gets like flared up because of a certain behavior. So a person could do something to you and it just triggers like an old core belief that maybe you didn't know you were even walking around with it. So it's just really good to start to get a handle on what we're believing, what we're feeling, what we're carrying around. And the way that I do this is a daily practice of mindfulness, meditation, writing, really analyzing my thinking. So yesterday when this thing happened where I felt like a person was rude to me, I ended up feeling so shitty about it, but I was able to recognize that I had a couple things happening. So one of the ways someone can hurt our feelings, or we hurt our own feelings, is that we're taking it personally. So it felt personal, like it was him across from me and he was acting a certain way and I felt like it was just hurtful. So yeah, I was taking that personally, but it really had nothing to do with me. On the surface, it seemed, of course, it had everything to do with me, but it had so much more to do with what was happening around us, what his day had been like up until that point, which I had no knowledge of. So there's this combination of like taking something personally that I could really have just been like, whoa, he's having some kind of a day. I don't have to take that on. That's not about me. Even though he's like lashing it out at me, it's not about me. And then also making assumptions, right? So like I realized later that I had this this thought process going that was an assumption, like, he doesn't like me, he's mad at me, he doesn't like what I'm saying, he's rejecting me, all these kind of things. And none of that is true. Or if it is, that's still his choice, his perspective, his deal, right? I don't have to let that hurt my feelings. I don't have to take that on. I know that I had good intentions. I know that I'm a good person. I know that I like him, and usually he seems to like me. So I didn't have to take that personally, and I didn't have to assume the worst. And that really speaks to like some core beliefs that I still work on, some old wounds that aren't that guy's fault. He's not aware of them, and it's not his job to kind of pander to that, right? I want to be free of that shit. So really I can be grateful to him because it triggered something in me, and I got to go home and be like, what the hell is going on here? I feel like shit. And then I can be like, oh, that's that old belief of I'm worthless, or I'm no good, or people don't want to be around me. You know, it was triggering that kind of stuff, which again has nothing to do with him, nothing to do with me today either, other than that it's my work to sort of soothe that shit and remind myself that that was then and this is now, and I'm creating new mindsets and new ways of thinking. The other thing I noticed is hidden expectations, and these are a real bitch because I know that expectations set me up for failure most of the time. We talk about this in the 12-step programs about how expectations are seeds for resentments, and that was very much the case yesterday, although I didn't realize it. I didn't know I was approaching this guy with any kind of expectation, but once my feelings were hurt, I realized I do have expectations that I carry around. I have expectations that someone that I get along with would be nice to me all the time, or happy to see me, or make time for me, you know? And that's just not reality. And maybe that's my reality, maybe that's what I do for other people, but I can't expect that for everyone all the time. And if anything, I can use that to remind me of like how I want to treat people. You know, that didn't feel good, and I don't have to treat other people that way, so that could be a cool lesson for me to just underline. My first sponsor, you know, when I was in the rooms in AA, I used to get really disillusioned because here was this program that was saving my life, and then there were people in there that I was really looking up to, and they were still humans, and some of them acted like shitheads, really. They did things that I was like, what? And it made me want to just write off the whole program and run away and never go back. And I would go to my sponsor and I'd be like, this person did this, and I thought it was awful. And she said, you know what, just let that be an example of what you don't want your sobriety to look like. So we can take a gift from everything, even when we feel like someone's behaving in a way that I wouldn't choose to behave, that I wouldn't ask someone to act like towards me. I can just be like, okay, I wish you well, you're obviously stressed. It's helpful to remember, too, that when people are in a good mood or in a happy place, they don't act like jerks. So if you really feel like someone's acting like a jerk, try to have a place of compassion for them. Be like, ooh, you're having a crappy day. And just resolve for yourself, like, hey, when I go out in the world, I'm going to make an effort to take time or be kind or whatever, because it makes a difference. And so why bother doing this, right? Like, we can choose how we want to believe. You can go along and just totally say, Amanda, you're nuts, this is bullshit, people make me feel a certain way, and that's just how it works. That's fine, you're free to keep believing that, but just notice, like, where the power is in that. If you believe that, if you continue to believe that, everybody in the world has power over you. Everyone. And that sucks. And you're constantly spending your energy trying to control others, and you're getting butthurt all the time, and your feelings are hurt, and it's all up to everyone else. But if you consider this other way of viewing the world, which I promise you is true and it works, it's just a matter of choice and practice and applying it to your own life. If you do it this way, you're going to be a lot happier. Other people around you are going to be a lot happier because you're letting them off the hook, and it's really cool when someone you feel is acting shitty towards you and you just kind of like, ooh, sorry about it, and you give some space and wish them well and move on. They end up often coming to you like with an apology or like with gratitude, like, hey, sorry I was having a bad day, thanks for not taking it personally, thanks for not overreacting, thanks for not making it a drama. You end up having better relationships with everyone, you're happier in the world. And I know that this works too because it doesn't, like, not everyone can hurt my feelings even when they're doing the same kind of thing. So if it logically worked that other people were in charge of my feelings, then every time someone was a jerk, I would be hurt every time. But there's times where, like, kids are out in the world and they're yelling and they're mad and they call you a name or something, and you don't take that personally. You're just like, oh, you're a little kid and you need a nap, settle down. And you kind of laugh about it, right? Or if you've ever been walking in a city and some random person on the street corner yells something inappropriate, or some shithead yells out of a car, or there's someone drunk catcalling or whatever, like, I don't have to take that on, and there's often many times when I'm just like, whatever, weirdo, you know, and I just laugh and it doesn't bother me. So that's kind of proof right there that it's not a correlation of this person does this, and so I have to feel this way. It's what's going on in here, and we always have the power to change that. And that's a really rad thing when you start to get a handle on that, because it's like you can just course correct all the time. You start to feel shitty, you look at it, you feel better much quicker. I like feeling happy. Hopefully you do too. It's fun. It's a good practice. It's worth the effort. It's not easy. Like I said, I still fall into it, but it's totally worth it. So, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.